Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel, my book loving friends. My name is Christina if you're new here, and today we're going to talk my top 10 favorite books of 2021. Alright, so at this very moment, I have read 92 books. It is not the end of the year, but I really wanted to film this video. So we're going to talk my top 10 favorites of the entire year. I'm very excited. This is the most I've read ever. Like, I've never read this many books consistently. I think my average before this year was about 30 to 35, give or take, a year, and I've read 92. Okay, so let's get into the video, shall we? So I will be doing this in chronological order, starting from my 10th, working all the way up to my favorite. I feel like my top 3 are very easy if you've been on this channel, but if not, we're gonna go into the video. Once again, disclaimer, if you're new here, I don't really do synopses. I tend to read very popular hyped up books that are very much mentioned on BookTube all the time. So I don't really do synopses all that much, but I will be going into why I love every single book. So stay tuned for that. Now let's get into the video. Okay, so the 10th book on this list is actually a book that I didn't think would actually make it onto this list, but then it's probably the one book I've thought about a lot, like a lot. And this is probably gonna shock a lot of people, but it's Fangs by Sarah Anderson. This is a graphic novel. It's gorgeous, and it's about a vampire who falls in love with a werewolf. That's literally it, and it's fantastic. The actual book in itself is just stunning. And then the illustrations are very cute. Like, this probably took me like 8 minutes to read, and it has stuck with me ever since. Like, ever since time I see this on my shelves, I just want to read it all over again. It's just such a wholesome book that I would recommend just everyone to sit down next to a fireplace and just have a good time reading it. You waking up, baby? No? By the way, my boyfriend's asleep behind this, so let's see if we wake him up by the end of this video. Alright, so number 9 on this list is going to come to no surprise by any means to absolutely anyone. And that book is A Dowry of Blood by S.D. Gibson. This is another vampire story, but this is a polyamorous retelling of Dracula's Brides. Read it. It's good, alright? If any of you know one of my book besties here on BookTube Jan, then you guys already know all about this book. But yes, this follows Dracula's Brides. It's kind of like a retelling, and it's fan-freaking-tastic. It made me bawl my eyes out, like actually like have a full-on sob fest. I was not okay, but this book has just kind of stuck around with me. The writing in here is stupidly good. Like, it's superb, alright? Like, the writing in here is just absolutely amazing. I kind of start rooting for characters, and it's very just eye-opening in a way. I feel like the writing in here and the storytelling is very well done, and I love everything about this book. All right, I just love everything about this book. All right, and number 8 on this list is a book I read pretty recently, and it's a book that I am probably going to reread eventually. And weirdly, I didn't know if it would make it to my top 10, but truly it's a book that I think about a lot, and I really enjoyed my reading experience with it, even though it's YA, and I'm not reading as much YA now that I used to, even though I still love YA, but this book by far is probably one of my top 5 YAs I've ever read, and that book is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. This book was fantastic. Not only is she stunning, like actually stunning, I tabbed the heck out of this book. I had an amazing time reading this. This book follows witches, but in this book, witches have like seasonal powers. So their powers are strongest during their season. And then you have our main character Clara, who's actually a Everwitch. Yeah, great, okay. She's an Everwitch, which means that she actually possesses all the powers from every single season, which is extremely rare, and I just loved this story. I feel like the story was extremely well done. It was just cheesy in all the right ways. I loved the magical component. I think we all know that I absolutely love everything witchy, and I had such a good time reading this book. I could not put it down. I physically read this in about 2 to 3 days, and I just loved every single second of it. The writing in here, even though it was cheesy and YA, it's YA, all right? Like, it's going to be cheesy. And I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this book. I had such a fun time. It was one of the funnest books I've ever read. And I just loved everything witchy in this book. I feel like the witches in this book were just chef's kiss. And number 7 on this list is a book that I have not been able to stop thinking about for the last couple of months. And that is Blood Like Magic. I loved this book. Actually, like, thoroughly loved everything about this book. Look, all right, this book has everything I want in a book and more. It has everything I want in a book. It has witches. It has women being fucking badasses. It has LGBTQ plus rep. It has everything. It has everything, okay? It's so good. I cannot wait for the second book in this to come out. This book is just witches, but like amazing witches. Like, this is probably the best witchy book I've ever read. I loved every single thing about the witches in this book. I loved the way the story was told in this book. I loved the characters in this book. It was so good. Alrighty, so number 6 on this list is probably going to come to maybe no surprise. It depends, because I have a lot of new subscribers here, but back in August, I binged something, and that something was the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I know this is such a basic ass story, but I loved it. All right, this is the first time this series I binged. All right, I binged this series. Like, I couldn't get enough of every single character. Like, I don't even have a favorite because I loved every single one of them. Oh my God, these books were so good. All right, now here's how you know let's put this into perspective, okay? I not only physically read these books, like, I don't think I physically read all 4 of these back to back and didn't listen to an audiobook for like 2 weeks because I physically read these all back to back. Okay, so not only did I physically read them, I binged them, which I don't think I've ever done in this series before, and I read them on my Kindle and my phone. That shows you something, because I wasn't a huge Kindle girl until I read The Deal. And I think the reason that I even picked up The Deal was because of Issa, because Issa told us that it was like 99 cents this one day, and it was the story that I had wanted to read. And I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and purchase it. And then I binged it in like 2 days because it was that good. All right, like, y'all, I loved this series. And also, can we just talk about the steam in this series, because it was so good. These are all like hockey romances. They're fantastic. They all take place at a university, Briar University, and they follow these 4 guys that are all on the hockey team, and they all fall in love. And I loved every single one of them, okay? I don't even care. I know there's a lot of hate towards Dean, which I completely understand, but like, I still love Dean, even though everybody hates him. It's okay. Now, my top 5 of the year. These are the books I probably talk about the most on my channel. These are going to be the books that I know one's going to be surprised about, because I mention pretty much at least one of these books in every single freaking video that I do. But let's get into my top 5, because these books are like, these were the hardest to rank, because these top 5s are favorites of all time. Like, all 5 of these books are on my favorite books of all time. Like, y'all, that's saying something, because I've read a good amount of books in my life, okay? So let's get into it. So number 5 on this list, Ace of Spades by Farida. God, I always butcher her last name. Farida Abiki. I hope I'm saying that right. But Ace of Spades, y'all. I've made a lot of people read this book. Like, a lot of people have read this book because of me, and that makes me so happy, okay? I've had this book for a long time, and I finally read it for Stabathon. It was Stabathon. I read it for Stabathon, and I binged this book in a day. A day. It took no time. The audiobook, by the way, mwah, chef's kiss. I loved this story, and here's my thing. You know this is a good book when not only is it YA, but it's a thriller. I don't read thrillers, all right? I'm mostly just romances and fantasy. Mostly fantasy and then romances. But like, for me to have thoroughly enjoyed a thriller like this, There is a lot of stuff that a lot of people can learn in this book alone. This book was by far one of the best books I've ever read in my life. It was so well done. This book is literally for just anyone who wants to have a good time and wants to uncover a mystery, because I loved everything about this book. I loved every single thing. I loved all the characters. I loved the storytelling. I loved the actual story. I loved the plot twist. I loved it all. I loved it all. All right. And the fact that this is a debut, it's a debut novel, people. All right. Go pick it up. Go pick it up, all right? And go support your authors, all right? Especially your Black authors. Go and buy this bitch at full price, all right? Because Farida deserves it. I'm just saying. All right, let's get into my 4th book of the year. This book. I want to be best friends with this main character, okay? Let's just put it at that. Actor Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I loved this book, okay? I listened to this strictly on audio, and I binged the entire audiobook in a day. One of the funniest books I've ever read. Honestly, the commentary in this book was so freaking funny. Eve Brown is relatable as fuck, all right? Eve Brown is so relatable. It's actually kind of scary, but just her demeanor is so relatable. And just the way that she's extremely funny. These characters were extremely funny. You have Mr. Grumpy Sunshine, and then you have Miss E. Brown, who walks through the door with purple hair, ready to just go ahead and take this job, okay? I can't. This book was so good, y'all. So this is the 3rd book in the Brown Sisters trilogy, and by far my absolute favorite. It was by far my absolute favorite because I think I just loved Eve Brown's character so much. And if there was any character I could be best friends with, it would be Eve Brown. It just would. I don't care that she's fictional, right? Because in my head, we're best friends. And I'm not changing that. All right? That's not gonna happen. All right, my top 3. I'm excited. I think I'm waking him up, y'all. You waking up? He nodded. All right, let's get into my top 3 because I'm very excited about these 3. God, I don't even know yet. I don't know, y'all. Because, like, 2 and 3 are kind of tied. But, like, they're really tied. Like, honestly. Like, I'm now debating if I should switch it back. But we're just going to go ahead and keep it. But, like, just so y'all know, 2 and 3 are, like, the exact equal for me. There really isn't, like, there is no 3, there is no 2. There's just this spot. All right? Like, they're tied. I love them both so very much. Okay, so number 3 is going to come to absolutely no surprise because I have a dedicated reading vlog to it. It's Plain Bad Heroines by Emily Danforth. I cannot express to you how much I love this book. I bought tabs. I bought like 3 sets of tabs to finally get the colors I desperately wanted, because I desperately wanted red and black tabs to match the cover. The amount of tabs I bought and wasted my money on because I wanted these specific tabs, that was another problem in itself. All right, but this story, I can't even like give you an accurate synopsis or like beginning to tell you what the heck this book can consist of because it's too complicated, but so well done. This massive book was fantastic. I loved everything about this book, but I think the one thing I loved the most was the writing. I annotated the heck out of this book. Like, there was no, like, I'm talking about pages, people. Like, when I tell you I annotated this book, and there's also, like, there's writing on the side. I annotated this book. There are so many things that I loved, and I will say I think the writing just did it for me. The writing in this book was so flowery. I highly would recommend this book if you liked Plain Bad Heroines. Nope, this is Plain Bad Heroines. Oh my god. I highly recommend this book if you liked The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. If you liked the flowery-esque writing from Addie, you're going to love this book because the writing style kind of gives me the same vibes. But then you have like a mystery, and then there's like dark academia in here, and there's movies, there's like filmmaking, there's murder. There's so many things in this book, and I adored this book with my entire well-being. This book became one of my favorite books of all time. I consider it a favorite book of all time, and I can't get enough of this book. I can't wait to reread this book next year, which is definitely going to happen. This is probably going to be a book I reread at least once a year because of how much I love it so much. All right, my top 2. Oh God, I might get hate for these 2. It's okay. You guys can judge me. It's fine. I don't mind getting judged because, like, I know I'm a basic bitch for this. All right. Number 2, Crescent City, or AKA House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. motherfucking Maas. All right. We all know she's my favorite author, right? We all know I love her. We all know I stan her. But oh my God, was this good? Like, oh my God, this was so good. I don't think you guys understand how amazing this book was. Like, oh my God. All right, I cried in this book. I laughed in this book. My heart almost fell out of my chest because of this book. I can't describe to you what went through my head. All right, if you guys haven't watched my Marion Bright readathon vlog where I read this in a week, I read this in a week, by the way, and a week means like I've binged 400 pages in one day. Y'all should go check that. You guys should go check that video out because you guys, like, the fact that I was able to actually binge 400 pages in a day of this book was like something to say the least. But like the second book comes out in February and I'm so happy I actually waited to read this book. I've owned this book since it came out and she's stunning. Can we all just like complete that? Because she's stunning. And I can't wait to annotate this upon reread. I probably won't reread this until like the third book comes out because she is still 800 pages. But I loved everything about this book. I loved Bryson Hunt. I think we all know I love me some Bryson Hunt and I'm hoping to get some more Bryson Hunt in book 2. But I also heard, by the way, that we're getting a threesome in book 2. I'm excited for that. I can't wait for that. But this book by far was so good. Now, if you're going to go into this book, if you are a Sarah J. Maas stan, there's not really any steam in this book. Just so y'all know. All right, this book is pure for fantasy lovers. You need to love fantasy. This is urban fantasy at its finest. I loved everything about this book. The fact that I loved this book so much and there wasn't even like any romance really into it, that shows you how good this book is. Like, there is a mystery that they need to unfold and it's done so superbly well. There are fantastical elements that I loved. You have so many different fantastical characters. It's not just fairies. There's more than just fae. And I loved every single second of it. Okay, I could talk about this book for a very long time. So let me know if y'all are trying to talk Crescent City. Okay, because hit me up in my DMs. We can talk about Crescent City and Sarah J. Maas all day long. And this will come to absolutely no surprise. Okay, if you know me at all, if you've watched any video of mine, then you know my favorite book, not just of this year, but my favorite book of all time. Like, my favorite book of all time. I'm currently rereading it, okay? A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Now look, all right, I know I'm a basic ass bitch for having 2 Sarah J. Maas books on my top 2, but like they're that good. Now this book is by far the best book I've ever read in my entire life because of how much I personally related to Nesta. This book is heavy on the mental health that Nesta goes through, and I related to the way that Nesta, in certain ways, I need to disclaim that. There's certain ways that Nesta went about kind of trying to heal herself and recover that I personally related to. Like, this book made me sob at how much I personally related to her. I am currently rereading this. This isn't a copy I'm rereading. This is my Loom Crate copy. I'm currently rereading. Oh, I should probably also disclaim that. I have 3 copies of A Court of Silver Flames. But the original copy that I had read, let me go get it so you guys can at least see the tabbage that's going on there. And we're back. So this is the original copy that I read, and you guys can see the tabs that are crazy. I'm currently rereading it, and I'm 318 pages in. Y'all, when I tell y'all that, like, this book has my entire heart, like, my entire heart belongs to this book. This is the only book I've ever annotated the way that I did. And I love every single thing about it. Like, I can't tell you how amazing this book is, how incredible this book is, how just, like, everything in my entire soul and being is this book. Like, this book is just something so different. And by the way, can we just talk about the steam that is this book, all right? Because Sarah J. Maas came for her, all right? She said this bitch is adult. Get Akatar out of the goddamn YA section, all right? Because Akasif is more adult than I am, all right? Like, this book has me hooked, all right? I am simping for this book. I will forever and always simp for this book. This book has my entire soul and can have it a million more, okay? That didn't make sense even to me, but I think we all understood where the heck I was coming from. This book deals with so much more than just face smut, all right? That's a big part of it, don't get me wrong. But Nesta's mental health in this book and the representation that we get from it, I've never related to anything so much in my life the way I related to the way Nesta's mental health was really brought up into this book. And guys, this is an 800-page book. This is a tome of a book, okay? But yeah, this is my favorite book of the year. It's my favorite book of all time. I'll reread this book at least once a year, if not twice. I'm going to constantly reread this book. This will be a book I read like at least 100 times in my life because of how much I just love Nesta and I love Cassian and I love the entire gang. I like Farrah. Rhysand pissed me off in this book, I'm just gonna say it, but I still enjoy his character. Alright, made it to the end of this video, y'all. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Please let me know some of your favorite books of the year. I would love to know. So please tell me all of your guys' favorite books. I'm super intrigued by it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please stay tuned for some more bookish content from me, and I'll see you guys in a video coming soon. Bye.